Um, I only had 10 minutes to prepare for this, so we'll make the most out of it. Welcome back. Good evening. Hope you guys are having a good evening on this wonderful evening. Rushed preparation, as I mentioned, but we make it work. Bitcoin is at 108,108. Wow, perfect number. Way to start. And it is Friday. It is July the 4th. Happy Independence Day to the Americans. If they do if you do celebrate, if you're an American, whatever. You should be proud of your country. You should be proud of your president. And that one big, beautiful bill getting signed into law, of course. Let's see. We had a drop today, falling from our good old high level over here at 110,000. We reached a low of 107,000 actually earlier today. And since then we have already recovered. Look at that beautiful bounce up from the uptrend. Bitcoin was lucky enough to do this. I'm not sure if it'll be able to, first of all, maintain this luck with this uptrend. Or, like, I mean, the uptrend will still be the case, but I'm not sure if we're going to have to readjust it, is what I mean. In terms of altcoins, they're not so lucky. They have significant drops as well. Even, you know, Bitcoin drops 1%, everything else drops 2, 3, 4, 5%. It's just like that. I do have some positions open still. I closed my Sui short position already in profit, $30. That was from the bonus. I think I have to write that down later. I entered one in Pengu. I'm pretty sure I showed yesterday. I don't remember exactly when I opened it, but yeah, that exists. I'm pretty sure I did. And then right after I entered this coin, Humanity Protocol, which is a horrible project. It has to do with digital government ID services. Who wants that? But God, am I getting completely obliterated by this token. First of all, for the record, I did not want to enter this token. I entered it by accident, and I'll explain. What I did was, let's draw a line. I put like okay, I'm going to have to turn off the magnet to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. You'll notice I have a buy and a sell right over here. That was because this was entered practically by accident, right? Can we please get rid of that? Turn this off for now. There we go. So here's what happened. I was thinking, okay, price is up here, right? I want to not take the risk of price continuing to go up, right? Oh my gosh, why is it so shaky? Anyway, I don't want price to continue. I'm going to go to a 15-minute chart. It's probably easier to draw. Oh yeah, beautiful arrow. Anyway, so I was thinking, hey, what if I put a trigger order for a short position right over here, right? So that whenever price goes below over here, I could make some quick and easy profits because price is typically going to correct like that, like a big boom downwards, right? If that makes any sense. And no stop loss, of course. So this is what my trigger order would kind of look like with a take profit around over here. I think I originally had my take profit at 0.087. Something around here. And my actual entry was 0.92 is where I put this. Okay? I can't draw this upward anymore. Whatever, I'll just drag this here. 0.87. So this is exactly what I drew out to enter. And I hit short, open short, right over here with this trigger order down here. And for whatever reason, I'm assuming because of the spread, it actually just bought like immediately at the market price, even though that is absolutely not what I did. So it's like, okay, what the heck? Why did you do that? I did not put the order that way. You violated my rules. So I waited for this to drop a little bit. I was making $5. I'm like, you know what? Fine, I'll sell it. Guess what? I lost $3.91, even though the unrealized profit and loss was actually $5. And of course, -2 with the commission. I'm fine with paying the $2 in commission. I was supposed to make $3 in profit. But that, I don't know if it was a lag in the time or something, or if it's the spread itself. I didn't make $5. I lost $1, which dropped it down to a negative 391 trade. Whatever. It's $4, whatever. Don't care. But then I'm like, okay, it must have been a misclick if, you know, I put my trigger order here and it actually failed at the market price, which that is not what I wanted to do. So instead, I decided to try it again, and the exact same thing happened. And this time I verified it, okay? I even get the pop-up saying like, look, you're about to put in an order that is lower for a short position. Are you sure you want to do this? I'm like, yes, I do want to do that. I do want to put a trigger order over here. It's like a breakout, right? We break out of a support towards the bottom side, and, you know, enter a short position and go with the drop if there is going to be a drop. So that's kind of my reasoning behind this, especially with a low liquidity token. This is like number 240, I think, in the coin market cap levels for this market cap. So over 100 billion for sure. 100 million, whoa, not billion. Anyway, so that's what I was hoping to do, but no, it just decided to fill another order here once again. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Fine, we'll let it ride. But unfortunately, it was $1,000 that I put in. Obviously, I wouldn't have done that. Would have done probably $100. Another thing I didn't really pay attention to is the funding countdown, which is brutal, by the way. Right now, not so much, of course. As soon as I click live, it's no big deal. But you're getting charged a funding fee every hour, every 1 hour. And this percentage, luckily there's history here. You can see the percentage of this is massive, was massive. You were getting 0.3% charge on a $3,000 account. Not account, but position. Let me give you some numbers here, okay? You already saw how much I'm paying in commission. Almost $200 so far, just today. So that means I'm going to have to make at least $200 in profit to break even, or more. I'm hoping at least this kind of flips around 1 full percent. That is insane. But this is from previous days, right? So I wasn't actually in there at that time. I entered today at... Oh, this is UTC. Okay. Gosh, gotta do math. We are at UTC -4 right now. So when did I actually enter this? Right here, which is 10. What's 10 plus 4? 14 o'clock. Cool. It's not in 24-hour format. Oh, yeah, it is. 14. Has it been this long? Well, since here, I guess. This is from today. Yeah, this is already in tomorrow's date. 5th of July. That's not. Today's the 4th of July, right? UTC is ahead of us. So that's why we're UTC -4. Does this make sense? Like, literally check the time. Okay, well, it says 9 o'clock. What? Why is this in UTC +8? No, this is completely off. Okay. What time zone is UTC +8? That is in Hong Kong, Beijing time. What time is it in, China? 9:17. Yeah, so they did say it is 9 o'clock. That's when the funding fee just got charged. And we are 12 hours in difference with China. I do know that. So if I entered at 10 a.m., this should show me that result from 10 p.m., which is 22 o'clock. So from here is where I'll be writing down these calculations. $3,000. 0.0048. That's $14 on this first one that I had to pay. The next one is 16947. That's $50. I don't know if you want to add this, but 14 plus $50 plus whatever this is, which is $42 plus $9. Yeah, and consecutively like that. These two were the bigger ones. A full percentage and a bit more is what I had to pay in those funding fees. And it's every hour, which is just brutal. So currently I'm at 189. It's almost $200. 188 to be exact. And yeah, well, I'm just going to have to wait it out, I guess. Either hope that this funding rate turns positive, which it's slowly turning, you know, being less and less, like 65 cents. Sure, that is normal to pay in funding fees. But not like $50 every hour, $40. That is just absurd. That's stacked up to this amount. It should slow down by now as, you know, the momentum kind of shifts a little bit. At least that's what I'm hoping for. I was about to say this is oversold. I mean, overbought. It's not showing me because it's on the 15-minute chart, but go to the 4-hour chart. It is overbought, right? And this is what I was looking for. Right below this candlestick, I was like, okay, I want to enter short position here. But no, it just decided to immediately enter. So it was like, okay, whatever. I put my trigger order at 92. It was either 92 or 93, and it filled at 97. Like, that's how big the spread is. So I don't even know. I'm expecting to take a loss here nonetheless. That's why I put my trigger, I mean my, yeah, take profit trigger at all the way down here, 007. Hoping to make $790. Hey, if that is the case, it would realistically be $600 maybe, if I'm lucky. So yeah, that's what I get, I guess, for trying to make a quick buck on these darn coins. But one thing I was thinking of, I'm like, okay, if I could hunt down these kinds of tokens that get a funding fee charged every hour, or even maybe every 4 hours, I could snipe that. Like, okay, if it's negative and it's a big percentage, I would enter at the last minute, get that percentage in funding fee as a credit to my account, depending if I'm either short or long. If you see a negative percentage, it's the short people who are in short positions who would have to pay people in long positions. That's why me that I'm shorting here, I have to pay people that are in long positions. People who are long on this would have made, if they entered at the same time as me, 188 so far, plus 94. I mean, you're making a killing. This was like actually more than 200 at one point. I don't know. I was swimming at this time, so I didn't really pay too much attention. But yeah, you got the idea. There's my struggle for today, my little headache, if you will. But other than that, the Sui position closed 30 profit. That's pretty good. Pepe was yesterday, closed that one on time. It was just a quick long entry. I decided to do. I'm like, you know what, I'll go long on Pepe. Everything is going up on that day, and I took advantage of that. There you go. Moving on, let's talk about the tokens we do genuinely care about. Ethereum. It did maintain its uptrend, so that's pretty good. Good to see. It's at 2,506 currently. Today's low is 2,473.09. Was the lowest point that it reached. Yeah, still able to hold it up decently. Still struggling at this resistance, still at 2,625 approximately. That's a key level we got to pay attention to. Once we do break that, it's going to be big though. Like, we'll be liquidating a lot of shorts. Ethereum is one of the most shorted it's ever been, right? We'd be breaking this downtrend. It should take us to this resistance at 2,747, hopefully. 2,750 maybe, if you want to round it up a little. This downtrend gone, I should probably get rid of that. And super trend invalidates 2,391. 3% down today overall for Ethereum. Similar with Solana, 3% down as well. Solana, though, did break the first level of the uptrend that we drew. It's kind of done it twice, although this one wasn't really considered an uptrend. I didn't have one drawn over here yet. I should enable the magnet again. So, I mean, with our low of today at 145, I could probably put that level there. I have a trigger order here in long for Solana around 143. Which unfortunately seems like it's not going to fill. I'm hoping it does. Like, at least just one, you know, just a quick, like, fill up my order and then go up forever, please. That's what I'm expecting for Solana. It's currently at 147. I think a $5 difference. It's possible. It's done it in the past. Multiple times. And then our resistance, of course, is at 160 still. What we got to pay attention for. All right. XRP down 2.19%. Current price is 221, and a similar deal over here. It's with what we saw with Solana. We got to adjust the uptrend a little bit. As long as this is the low for today, tomorrow, and day after, because it's kind of like a long weekend for the Americans, right? And they have the bigger move in the market because they have a strong economy. So, yeah, we got to pay attention to what they do and when they're going to do it, which will happen to be Monday. Asians, the Chinese people, I mean, they also move the market a bit, so but we have to wait until everything's closed by now. All the regulated markets. So we got to wait until Sunday evening to see any real big moves. Resistance for XRP at 230 still. That's always been the case. And uptrend invalidates at 210. You could practically call this. I'd assume that this would levitate little by little. We also have a pivot level there. That's why I'm bringing that up. It's also psychologically makes more sense. 210 for XRP for a support. Breaking out of 230 though would also be significant. I'm assuming there should be some liquidations over here. That should take us up to 242. At least that's what it's showing for this week. And would also be breaking this downtrend, which is also important. Super trend with the bullish flip on our side should help us out in that regard. Just going to refresh here. Let's move on to Sui, top loser today. Sometimes it's top gainer, sometimes it's top loser. You see that the graph, it literally looks the exact same as everything else, but it just moves more, which is what I like about Sui. A 6% movement, sure, it is toward the downside, but hey, I made profit from this. Why you're not showing the trade marking of where I bought and sold? Whatever, I'll draw it out manually. 304 was where I purchased, which would have been... I'm going to turn off the magnet. 304 right over here. And sold at 285. Practically where it is right now. 286 is the current price. Yeah, that was good enough. With 100 at 5x. That's a total position size of 500. And a movement like that, it gives you 30 bucks. Not too bad. This is going to close automatically in 24 hours anyway, and we're at a worse price than where I sold. I'd call that a win nonetheless. How did I know to sell there? I didn't. I just guessed. But hey, the good news about Sui right here is the uptrend has not been broken at all. We're still respecting that. And we have a resistance here at 304 anyway. 308 was the highest point that we reached recently. Lowest point that we reached today was 282. So yeah, looking really good for Sui. You know, weakening this barrier of the psychological level at $3 should be great. I'm not really getting liquidated. Don't worry about that stuff. Cardano bounced off of this downtrend. So that kind of prevails. Why did you move? I'm going to lock you in place. I'm going to extend this over here with a magnet, to be precise. There. And we're kind of in this lateralized zone by the looks of things. Between 55 and 60 cents, right? Currently at 57, right smack in the middle. Same deal with the RSI at 47. 48, 47, right? Almost 50. So really it's anyone's move here, top or bottom for Cardano. We do have the super trend on our side though. Uptrend was not broken, the most recent one that we have drawn. It invalidates at 53. I don't think it's going to happen though. I still have a bullish outlook for most of these. And last is Litecoin. It's at 86, unfortunately dropping below that 87 mark. We're always hovering around this. I've always pointed it out. Down 2.56%. Oh, Cardano was down 5%, by the way, if you care. Still maintaining the uptrend for Litecoin as well. Super trend invalidates 82.74. And 91 seems to be its 91.92. Big resistance for Litecoin. Breaking out of that should break us out of the final downtrends that we have drawn over here and take us to higher levels. Would be great. So a bullish outlook for most of these coins. Bitcoin also just breaking this little thing downtrend. Are you noticing something like this? Looks awfully resemblant of 2024. Or am I crazy, right? Like, picture 2024, ETF announcement, Bitcoin all-time high, the first highest. First drop because of Middle East war. Literally, actually, we had the exact same thing happen this year, Middle Eastern war. We recover, we drop again. Or actually, this was June 5th. What happened June 5th? That was Middle Eastern. No, this was Elon Musk, Trump. Sorry. We rise back up. We didn't fully break our all-time high, but we got really close. And then we drop again. This was because of Middle Eastern war. Now we've already fully recovered. And then what's next? Are we going to start dropping again? Would depend. Would depend on what happens with this uptrend. When Supertrend flips bearish, I'll accept defeat. And, of course, breaking 100,000 toward the bottom really sucks. It's not something that everybody likes to see, right? Unless you're filthy shorter. You don't short Bitcoin. Like, that's the one coin that you don't short. That's something that you have to always long. It's supposed to go up and up forever. Has a max supply. Everybody's buying it. Why would you want to short it? Unless you think you're going to outplay the market by riding it downward. Those are necessarily just stuff you got to wait and buy those dips. The only time you should be adding to losing trades, I guess, if you are in that case. Me personally, though, like buying Bitcoin here, it's not something that I would be interested in. Probably if we do go back down to the 90s, below 100,000, those are levels that I would consider buying. I unfortunately did sell my Bitcoin over here. I kind of wish I didn't. I really wish I didn't. I've expressed how much I regret that on stream many times, but you get the point. So I'll move on from it. Won't bore you with that subject. Okay, so we do have some news to talk about. First of all, I mentioned this. Donald Trump signs the One Big Beautiful Bill into law officially. The ceremony was done. He gave a little speech, and yeah, there you go. Enjoy lower taxes. Elon Musk, of course, outraged by this and everything, the threat of creating a new party. He says that Independence Day is a great time to ask if he should start the new America Party. He said that if you want independence from the two-party, some would say uniparty system, this comes from one criticism that he had in the past, saying, you know what, both Republicans and Democrats, they're the same garbage, right? We should make a party that would support the actual American people. The 80% in the middle is what he said. So he once again put out this poll, should we create the America Party? And 40% support before it even exists. A new poll, this is a different poll, shows that 4 in 10 voters say that they would back Elon's political party if he actually launches it. Only 38% said no, while 22% are still thinking it over. So those were 3 options, right? 40% saying yes, the other 40% approximately saying no, and 20% are still thinking about it. Just to round the numbers, make it easy for you. Elon says it's time for a new political party that actually cares about the people, and it looks like the idea is already landing. He did say that that was encouraging once he did see that news of that poll. Yeah, 40% would support, 40% not support, and 20% not sure. Interesting. So we'll see what happens with that. Apparently Russia-Ukraine war is still going on. Russia torches Kyiv hours after Trump-Putin call. Fires lit up the skies over Kyiv overnight in Ukraine. Russia unleashed a wave of missiles and drones on the capital. Residential buildings and civil infrastructure took the brunt. The strike came less than 24 hours after Trump spoke with Putin. There's no official casualty count yet. So, yeah, that's still really happening. And Trump commented on this. He said that he is very disappointed with the Putin phone call, as it's obvious that Putin is not looking to stop the war. He's not looking for a ceasefire, really. He said that he's very disappointed in the conversation he had today with Putin. It was yesterday. I gave you guys a summary on that. If you want to check it out, go check it out. I don't think he's there. I don't think he's looking to stop, and that's too bad. He also, Putin did say, hey, if we do get any ceasefire talks, We want it to be between Moscow and Kiev. Keep Washington out of it. And Trump said he understands that, and yeah, la la la. That's what we got for that. Robert Kiyosaki says that there are clickbait losers that keep warning of a Bitcoin crash. Ironic coming from him, by the way. He's always called out for a crash. But mainly in like the stock markets, not necessarily Bitcoin. He always says like, hey, buy Bitcoin, buy gold, buy silver, right? That's his main things that he advises you to buy. Anyways, talking about these clickbait losers, they want to frighten off the speculators. I hope Bitcoin crashes. I will only buy more. Take care. Which that is the attitude to have. Hey, to have. You know what? If Bitcoin is going to crash, just buy more. Like, you're buying Bitcoin for much cheaper. I would not want to buy Bitcoin at 107,000. I think that's too much. I'm not going to get enough for what I'm putting my money in. And obviously I'm just more worried about the short term as a retail investor. But if you're looking for the long term, any price is a good price today for Bitcoin, right? If you really, really trust in the project, which you should have some Bitcoin on the side nonetheless, because, you know, having it self-custodied in by yourself in your own wallet is something you gotta do. Not in an exchange, you know, not in futures leveraged account, none of that stuff. I'm just doing this because I just want quick bucks, right? So that's different. Now, if you're wondering why did we have a drop today with Bitcoin, it was fears of sell-offs that could be happening. And this is the kind of fear where it's almost at the level, I say almost because it's not exactly there, almost at the level as if picture Satoshi Nakamoto waking up from the dead and starts moving his Bitcoin. Everybody knows where this guy's Bitcoin is. We know what his wallet address is. We don't know who the guy is or company. Who knows who knows who the inventor of Bitcoin is, right? Nobody knows. It's just under the anonymous name Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, if you notice that this Bitcoin from this founder, I guess, starts moving around like to different exchanges to maybe sell it off, why would you move your money from a hardware wallet to an exchange? It's likely to off-ramp that to sell it off or whatever the case may be. And that's something that we saw. Addresses that have been asleep for 14 plus years started waking up again and sending 10,000 Bitcoins, which is worth 1 billion, I'm assuming. Yeah, $1 billion today, which was worth 34,000 back in 2011. So that is significant profit. If you just put, you know, one annual salary worth of your money in Bitcoin back in 2011, today you'd be a billionaire, like no questions asked. But the thing is, why is this person doing that? Maybe to sell off, maybe to take profits. I mean, I wouldn't blame you. After 14 years, you want to be a billionaire. More than a billionaire, by the way. He did this multiple times. People did the count. It was roughly 8 times. 10,000 Bitcoin transactions just getting sent off to exchanges. These dormant Bitcoin addresses, and nobody knows who it is, where it's from, stuff like that. They just know that, hey, that's a significant amount of Bitcoin. What address is this from? Okay, this address, we never heard of it before. When was the last time this address was active? Wow, 14 years ago when they first bought Bitcoin. Stuff like that is what's coming out. So people notice this and they're saying, okay, what is going on? It says 40,000, but it was actually 80,000. Even like, and it's being sent to exchanges, by the way, because we have the Bitcoin exchange balances that are showing, yeah, we're gaining Bitcoin on the exchanges again. We're usually seeing Bitcoin balances on the exchanges decrease every day, but today that increased. They're usually decreasing because, you know, you're buying Bitcoin on an exchange, whether that be Coinbase, Binance, you know, BingX or Crypto.com, whatever the case may be. And then you send that to your own hardware wallet, either be a cold wallet or hot wallet. And from there, you know, you're taking Bitcoin off of the exchange. So that just reduces supply. And obviously with more demand, that's what drives the price of Bitcoin up every time. But the counter is just reset. You're adding more Bitcoin to the supply. and people are getting scared, and, you know, there's more in circulation, basically. So that's one issue with it. Is this an older post? No, it isn't. All right. So here's the details. Bitcoin OG, holding at least 80,000 Bitcoin, which is $8 billion, has woken up after 14 plus years of dormancy and transferred 40,000 Bitcoins, $4 billion, today. This OG controls about 8 wallets, 2 of which received 20,000 Bitcoins, which was $15,000 at the time, but it's worth $2 billion now, on April 2nd, 2011, when the price of Bitcoin was 78 cents. Wow, Bitcoin is 100K plus, 107, 108. The other 6 wallets, so the other 60,000 of the 80,000, which was 202,000 worth at the time, it's now worth 6 billion. When the price of Bitcoin was at 337 is what they received. So these, they didn't buy, okay, I don't know if they bought, but these addresses received. Of course, they might have bought to receive this. I'm just not sure if it was like an actual purchase or a donation of those amounts. But yeah, 2011, 8 addresses. Here they are of Bitcoin getting received. Another wallet transferred out 10,000 Bitcoins after being dormant for 14 plus years. The 6th wallet just transferred out 10,000 Bitcoin after being dormant for 14 plus years. Yeah. So there's more stuff to this, like, okay, so what is going on with this? Are they going to sell? Who is it? Who's buying this Bitcoin? Stuff like that. Multiple wallets, likely controlled by a single entity or individual, have been activated after more than a decade, all within 24 hours. That's what's been alarming to everybody. The coins have been moved to fresh addresses, pointing unmistakably to what appears to be the largest OTC deal the market has ever seen. That's one assumption as to what's going on. A whale of this size doesn't broadcast intentions to sell by lighting up dormant wallets all at once, unless this was all planned, strategic, surgical, and already done behind closed doors. Something big just happened. The real question is who's buying. So what this means is, that's why I think the market, it's not dropping as significant. Sure, we dropped from 110K to 107. It's not a big deal. It's only $3,000 drop. But still, you know, people speculate and they get scared as to, oh my God, are they sending it to exchanges to sell off their Bitcoin? Imagine just 80,000 Bitcoin just getting dropped onto the market, right? It would reduce the market cap and scare people's scare the people, making the price drop, right? Because there's more in circulation. So I guess these two, who is selling and who is buying. This was likely an OTC transfer made, over-the-counter payment, where it's like, okay, if you're a multi-billionaire, okay, which there's only not a lot of people of, but, you know, there are some multi-billionaires. If you want to buy Bitcoin, you want to buy all the Bitcoin, as much as Bitcoin as you want, you're not going to go to an exchange and buy it there, because you got to do KYC, you got to do all this stuff. There's limits to how much you can buy. You can't just buy it all at once. Keep in mind, this is all done within 24 hours. How do you acquire 80,000 Bitcoins, $8 billion worth, today within 24 hours? You do that with OTC. You make a deal with a person. You say, hey, hey, you're a person with a lot of Bitcoin, huh? Yeah, that's right. Okay, cool. I want to buy your Bitcoin. Oh, for real? Yeah, for real. I'll give you the price of what it currently is today. I'll send that money to you, $8 billion, and you give me 80,000 Bitcoins. Just send them to my address. Okay, and I'll do it. No problem. We'll do it maybe in installments of 1 billion each time, just to, you know, make sure we're not scamming each other. Because this is like an unregulated thing, right? There's no middleman. It's literally just two parties there and saying, you know what, I'll give you some for some. Small portions at a time. Could be, you know, I'll give you a $1 billion payment, send me 10,000 Bitcoin. Okay, done? Okay, again, and again, and again, 8 times. That's just one way to do it. I've done this kind of stuff before with different kinds of transactions on unregulated markets, but yeah, um, that's likely what has been happening here. And the reason that they do this as well, it's also a positive thing, kind of, because it doesn't have a direct impact on the market price. We saw this kind of thing happen before, where Germany had 50,000 bitcoins, $5 billion worth today. But at that time, of course, worth much less. Bitcoin was $50,000. So it was half of that. It was like $2-3 billion. And they just decided to send it off to exchanges and sell off all their Bitcoin right on the spot market, which we saw that impact the price of Bitcoin in 2024, August, April. I remember the drop clearly. Yeah, it was this one, July, literally 1 year ago. We had this drop right over here because Germany was selling all their Bitcoin right on the spot market, just adding more to the Bitcoin exchanges, right? So keep that in mind. If 50,000 Bitcoin it was over a period though of like a couple of weeks, right? Maybe even a month. Yeah, period over a month is what it felt like. We saw Bitcoin drop from 70,000 to 54,000, 53,000. Like that sucked to live through. But it happened, right? 80,000 Bitcoin, which is a little bit more than 50,000, had little to no impact. And that's the power of what OTC does, right? This is so that you don't manipulate the price of Bitcoin so significantly that you're going to make it drop so hard. Like that could immediately drop us to maybe even below 100,000, just selling 80,000 Bitcoin right on the spot market within 24 hours, like just all at once. It's going to be significant, right? But if you do it OTC, you avoid that issue because you're just, sending it from one person to another. There is no middleman. There is no exchange where you dump all your money in there. And then, of course, if you didn't have a buyer for your Bitcoin that you're selling off, maybe you could just dump it on the spot market, I guess, and you would cause a devastating effect on the price if you had that much Bitcoin. So, things like that can happen. And, to kind of mitigate that problem, like Justin Sun, for example, founder of Tron, he was actually offering to buy Germany's gold OTC so that they would stop impacting the price of Bitcoin at that time, but last year, right? People were panicking at that time, like, oh my gosh, everything is crashing. Bitcoin's at 53,000. That is a new low that we've seen this year. We ultimately dropped lower because of August 5 crash, but you get the point. So people were scared of that, and it's something that we don't want to see happen. So these big whales that are making huge transactions, we rather them do them OTC, and that's why that kind of markets exist. So that's one thing. So yeah, that was the two questions. Who is buying, who is selling? The seller allegedly is an old miner who holds 161,000 Bitcoins. If they just sold 80,000 of it, they would have 80,000. Yeah, 81,000 Bitcoins. I don't know why it took me so long. I think the 161 messed me up. Whatever. They have another 80,000, another $8 billion in them. I guess that makes sense. If I had 161,000, somebody offered to buy me that today, I'd sell half of my Bitcoin, no problem, and I'll keep the other half for another decade or another 15 years, whatever the case may be, when Bitcoin is worth $1 million each, because I'm already filthy rich by here. Like, by selling 80,000 Bitcoins, I'm an 8 billionaire. Like, come on. I'd take that. People are... No, it's obviously not going to be Ross Ulbricht. Most of his Bitcoin was seized from Silk Road. They're saying it's an old miner, I guess. Somebody who must have really grinded. They hold 161,000 Bitcoin. Which is a big amount. That is a big amount. It's almost up to what China has up almost the same amount that the United States has. United States and China have 200,000 bitcoins. This guy had 161,000 allegedly. We don't know this for sure. It's all speculation. But we've seen them, sending 10,000 bitcoin at a time to new addresses, likely OTC purchases. That's what it is. It could be this guy is what people are saying. His name is Roger Ver, moving 80,000 Bitcoin after 14 years. Source. All that remains to be moved is this address containing 10,000 Bitcoins, and that's a wrap for today. 99.9% is Roger Ver. Some people think it's... I don't even know. Nicknamed Bitcoin Jesus. He's an early Bitcoin investor since 2011 who funded startups like Blockchain.com, Ripple, BitPay, and Kraken. What? Bitcoin Cash advocate. He renounced U.S. citizenship in 2014 for libertarian reasons. Indicted in 2024 for tax evasion. Yeah, that's going to be all of us one day. No, I'm joking, of course. Don't come after me for that. Involving over 131,000 Bitcoin. He got arrested in Spain. Oh, I remember this guy. Bitcoin Jesus. I remember this. He's fighting extradition. Recent massive Bitcoin transfers are speculated to be his. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that could be one case. Ultimately, it doesn't really matter. Like this just looks like an OTC transaction. Also, by the way, in the middle of all this, Satoshi Nakamoto just received $20,000 in Bitcoin. What if it is Satoshi Nakamoto? Or what if Satoshi is buying? Or what if those are Satoshi's wallets? I don't even know. Imagine Satoshi coming back one day and dumps all his Bitcoin on us. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Imagine 1 million Bitcoin just getting dumped. That would crash us easily back down to 80,000. Probably harder. 1 million Bitcoin. I don't really want to do this math, but what is 1 million Bitcoin times 100,000? 1 million times the price of Bitcoin, 100,000. What is this? Hundreds, thousands, millions, billions. That's $100 billion. If we go to CoinMarketCap, the current market cap of Bitcoin is 2 trillion. 2,148,000,000. So it would be 2,048,000,000, 067 677 870. Okay, 870. That would be the market cap of Bitcoin right now. Don't make me do this math again. How much Bitcoin are in current circulation? 19.88 divided by 19,880. That's millions, thousands, hundreds. Yeah, I did this wrong. 204,806. Oh my gosh. How do I do this math? How's market cap calculated? I'm just going to Google this, honestly. How is market cap calculated? By multiplying the total company's number. Okay, talk in crypto. The price times the number of tokens in circulation. Okay, but what's the opposite formula for this? Because I want to know the price. I have the market cap and the circulating supply. Do you just divide it? Market cap divided by circulating supply? Isn't that what I just did, though? That's literally what I just did. And it gave me $103? That's not right. Okay, come on. How do I even do this math? I don't even know. Is it the other way around? 1,900,000. Hold on, where is... Maybe I missed a zero somewhere. 19,880,000. That Oh, that is the million. I think I messed up the number there. Did I? I probably did. Okay. Can I please this number copy? Will it work? It does. Divided by, I'm gonna try this again. 19,880. That's 19,800. 19 million. There we go. Should give me the price. Okay, so it was 103,000. That's not too bad, actually. If Satoshi Nakamoto just dumped all his Bitcoin, it would drop the price to 103,000 today. And obviously everybody's going to get scared and also start dumping, which will maybe take us to 100,000. Okay, so maybe I exaggerated with the whole 80,000 thing. I mean, maybe market just completely overreacts like, oh, what does Satoshi Nakamoto know? Why is he dumping all this Bitcoin? Maybe it'll just cause a panic sell-off. I'd give it maybe to 90,000, maybe. No, but by then there should be more Bitcoin in circulation, shouldn't there? I'm misapplying my math. So if it's 19 million in circulation, no, but that is the total supply. It's not, I was going to add like to 20 million, but then that just doesn't make sense. And plus that would make us really close to already reaching our max supply, 21 million. Yeah, so that is right, I guess. All right. Yeah. That's all I wanted to share for that. Moving on to stock markets. Microsoft. They've been suspending around 3,000 Outlook and Hotmail accounts, which are connected to a scheme involving North Korean IT workers infiltrating companies under false identities. What is with North Korea, man? They're trying to be like cyber criminals now. It's crazy. They did the hack on Bybit, by the way. So they're trying to get up there in that sense. Well, I guess get on Microsoft. I also mentioned, by the way, they planned on laying off a couple thousand employees and hiring H-1B workers instead. They also announced that they will halt all operations and exit Pakistan after 25 years, citing increasing political instability and regulatory risks. Not sure about this. I haven't heard that from Pakistan, other than the possible war that they were about to have with India. But that's already been resolved, thanks to Trump. What's the regulatory? I don't know. I don't know too much about Pakistan's government. More details. Perplexity. Microsoft has officially shut down its office in Pakistan after 25 years, citing global restructuring, a shift to a cloud-based partner-led model, and broader workforce reductions as the main reasons for the exit. While the company highlighted global operational changes, many experts and former Microsoft Pakistan leaders point to Pakistan's challenging business environment, marked by economic instability, that makes more sense, political turmoil, high taxes, that makes even more sense, and bureaucratic hurdles as key factors that made continued operations unsustainable. Microsoft had already moved most licensing and contract management for Pakistan to its European hub in Ireland, with local service delivery now handled by certified Pakistani partners. So Microsoft products and services will still be available through these channels. The Pakistani government has downplayed the move, calling it part of Microsoft's global strategy rather than a complete market exit, but many see it as a troubling sign for the country's economic future. That is also true. A big company like Microsoft shutting down in your country, no good. But probably better for us. Maybe we're getting more Microsoft in the United States. That's probably what we should be caring about. FTX bankruptcy filings, they're showing that users in 49 countries may be excluded from compensation due to local crypto laws. 82% of those claims from those restricted regions come from China. They didn't even know that. A lot of people from China have been using FTX. That's crazy. If you don't know, FTX, big exchange that crashed, Sam Bankman-Fried in jail, the CEO of that company. And they went bankrupt because the guy just used all those funds to party in Bahamas. Now he has to pay everybody back. The company is working towards that, refunding everybody in stable coins, by the way. And that process rolled out a bit later last year, which helped, obviously, with the big pump that we saw in November, obviously thanks to Trump as well. So from there, what happened? The 82% of those claims of users in 49 countries that are excluded from compensation, apparently they come from China. They'll probably not get their crypto back. That sucks. All right. And a wonderful Canadian company, Del Monte Foods, files for bankruptcy. If you've seen their food, it looks like this. The canned fruit and vegetable makers say that they will continue operations during court-supervised sale process. One major headwind for Del Monte moving forward, consumers are shifting toward fresher and healthier options, reducing sales of traditional canned products. That's what they sell. They need to pivot and fast. Okay, so it's nothing really much to do with the economy. I guess it's consumer shift by the looks of things. They have their roots back to 1886 in California. Is it a Canadian company or no? I don't even know. Del Monte Foods. It's an American food production company in California. Never mind. It has nothing to do with Canada. Alright, never mind. Thought it was Canadian. Well, there you go. Filing for bankruptcy. It just has to do with the canned products by the looks of things. I guess people are tired of the toxic stuff, especially with RFK Jr. as the HHS head, so I guess that kind of makes sense. Alright, there you go. I was on the right path with calculating the market cap. I'm still bent over that. 107,900. I'm still losing $20 on this. I was losing 100, so hey, that's a little better. I'll let you guys know on how this goes. I'm hoping for a nice little crash over here. 31% crash. Absolutely can happen. We had this happen. 35% crash in this candle alone. So surely we get another crash. And also we've been down here. Like, come on. The reason this has been going up, there is no reason. I could find the reason. It's number 225. It has a max supply, so that's not that good. But there's only 1 billion in circulation out of the 10 billion that they have in supply, which means that they would likely release tokens little by little. Market cap 179 million. I usually say above 100 million is good, but I think that funding rate is crazy. Biometric ID systems with the government. Yeah. Where is AI? I was looking for this. Why is it up? I got listing on KRW and OKX perpetual futures launch. All right, that's really it. Usually something gets listed on an exchange, especially for derivatives with leverage. That's going to make the price of anything rise. But usually it dies out after a while. We've seen it happen in the past. It's not a meme coin, it's a legit project, so, you know, people aren't going to buy it for fun. Like, they're only going to buy it because they see faith in the project. But most projects, 90% of projects in the crypto space will fail, guaranteed. And I'm hoping this is one of them. That's why I'm shorting it. Plus, we've been rising for a very long time, so surely a correction is due soon. Yeah, that's all my thoughts are on this. I'm really upset with this funding rate. 190, it just keeps on increasing. What's my next? Hey, the next one's positive. At least 3 cents. It starts off like that, but hey, this is also a top indicator as well. The fact that more people are long than short. It's going to sound counterintuitive, but trust me, in funding with leverage in the futures market, you're more likely to get those longs liquidated, which causes a, what do you call it, a long squeeze, and everything will just drop down from there. So you should expect a drop, maybe. That's what I'm thinking, at least. But at least, you know, the funding rates, they should be less heavy on me. I could go to sleep in peace. If they're at least neutral or positive, I'll be fine with it. Or maybe slightly negative, I'm okay with, whatever. 190 though, like I'm gonna have to guarantee a 190. Let me show you some numbers here. 0.09713. That's my entry price. I dropped 1,000. Let me go to like say. Can I put in an amount? I don't think I can. What happens at 0.08780? I make 282. Yeah, that's $100 profit. If it drops to here, hey, you know what? I'll probably be fine with that. But I'll be ambitious with it. If it drops even further to the next pivot, previous resistance, you don't really pay attention to these pivot levels, if I'm being honest, because they're so outdated and on such a low market cap token. These really don't matter. I'd probably pay more attention to a Fibonacci, not a long trade or whatever I drew there. Yeah, something like this. Something like this over here. That's something I'd be paying attention to. Matter of fact, I think I'm in love with this, so I'm gonna drag it up and it's just slightly above it just to ensure that this does get executed, because there's also an issue with the spread, of course, bid and ask. It appears to be huge on this low volume or low market cap token because of what I just experienced. Like I put 0.093 or something like that. It was either 2 or 3 and it got filled at 9.7. Like it's whatever. Also, let me just delete this so that I don't accidentally buy it. Yeah, so that's all for this. 725, that's still good. I'll pay 200 in commission. I'll make 500. It's fine. All right, that'll be all for tonight's stream, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Wow, 56 minutes. I had nothing to talk about today, but I ended up talking a lot. All right, hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe. What's going on tomorrow? Nothing. All right, maybe I'll stream, maybe not. We'll see.